You know that feeling, right? When you're applying for a PhD, it feels like you're packing up your entire academic life, putting it in a box, and shipping it off into the void, just hoping for the best. But what if we could actually peek inside that box? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the PhD admissions committee to figure out how they really make their decisions. So you've spent months, maybe even years, polishing your statement, lining up your recommendations, and finally, you hit that submit button. And then? Crickets. That's silence, right? It can be absolutely nerve-wracking. So what is going on behind the scenes? Who is actually reading your file? And what in the world are they looking for? Okay, let's get into it. All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start by tackling that whole black box feeling. Then we'll meet the people who are actually on the committee and get inside their heads by understanding their core philosophy. And after that, we're getting super tactical. We'll decode the tools they use to evaluate you, and, most importantly, figure out how you can build an application that truly stands out from the crowd. Okay, first things first. Let's just talk about that feeling of uncertainty. It's real, and hey, it's totally valid. From the outside, the whole process can seem completely opaque, maybe even a little random. But I promise you, behind the scenes, there is a very clear system at work. And this right here, this is the most crucial thing to remember. This isn't some cold algorithm crunching your numbers. It's a group of actual human beings, academics, professionals, who are part of a highly structured, year-round process. Understanding that structure, that's your first step to absolutely mastering your application.
So, who are these real people anyway? Well, it's not some shadowy council in a dark room deciding your fate. It's a committee with a very specific job to do. And believe me, they've been getting ready for this long before you even thought about submitting.
I mean, just look at their timeline. This whole thing starts way before you apply. Committees are formed up to 8 months before the deadline. They spend months training, setting their goals, and finalizing the exact rubric they're going to use to evaluate you. Yeah, this is no weekend gig. It's a massive, deliberate effort to make sure every single applicant gets a fair and consistent review. And the people in that room, it's a really diverse group. Of course, you've got faculty members, the experts in your field. You also have program staff, the people who know the day-to-day logistics of the department inside and out. And pretty often, you'll even have current graduate students who bring that fresh perspective of someone who was in your shoes not too long ago. What that means for you is that your application gets looked at from all these different angles. So you might be wondering, how on earth do all these different people look at, thousands of applications and stay consistent? Well, they all operate under one guiding philosophy, and it's become the absolute gold standard in grad admissions: holistic review. So what does holistic review actually mean? It means they are committed to looking at your entire file. They're trying to see you as a whole person, not just a GPA or a test score. It's all about understanding your achievements, sure, but also your potential and the unique context of your own life and journey. And this is where you see the huge difference from the old way of doing things. Holistic review is a balancing act. Your grades and scores, they matter, for sure, but so do your personal attributes, things like resilience, creativity, leadership. And so does your context. The committee is asking, have you made the most of the opportunities you've had? Have you overcome big obstacles? That's all part of the story they're trying to understand. All right, so if it's not just about crunching numbers, how do they keep it fair? How do they stop personal bias from creeping in? They use a very specific tool, the evaluation rubric. This is how they turn that big philosophy of holistic review into a consistent, practical process. And basically, to make sure every single person gets a fair shake and is viewed through the same comprehensive lens, most committees will structure their evaluation across 4 big areas. So let's take a look at a simplified version of what this might actually look like. Under research potential, they're basically asking one key question: can you actually do this work? They're looking for clear goals, real experience, and amazing recommendations. For program alignment, they're asking, are you a good fit for us specifically? They want to see a clear match with their faculty. And then under personal attributes, they're looking for those qualities like resilience and curiosity, the stuff that really predicts who's going to make it through the marathon of a PhD. But here's the absolute most important thing to get about the rubric. It's not a calculator. The goal isn't to add up a bunch of points and spit out a score. Think of it more like a guide, a tool to structure the conversation and make sure every reviewer is thinking about the same core qualities as they try to piece together your unique story. Okay, so now we've peeked behind the curtain. We know the system. The big question is,
How do you use this knowledge to your advantage? How do you take your application from that qualified pile and get it into the we have to admit this person pile? Let's get into the strategy.
I absolutely love this quote. It just perfectly captures the mindset shift you need to make. This isn't about checking off boxes. It's about presenting yourself as this unmissable opportunity, as a future colleague who is going to bring incredible value to their lab and to their program.
So what is the single biggest factor? Ask anyone on a committee and they'll probably tell you it's your letters of recommendation. A truly great letter has two key ingredients. First, enthusiasm. You want your recommender to say things like, "This is the best student I've had in 5 years." And second, relevance. Now, a glowing letter from a world-famous expert in your field, that's amazing. But don't panic if that's not you. Honestly, a super detailed, enthusiastic letter from your direct research supervisor who knows your work inside and out is often way more powerful than a generic letter from some big name. And the good news is, you have way more control over this than you might think. You earn a great letter by doing exceptional work. You choose your recommender strategically, pick the people who can really speak to your research skills, and then you make their job easy. Give them your entire portfolio, your CV, your statement, info on the programs, and give them plenty of time, at least a month, so they can write a truly powerful and specific letter for you.
All right, next up, proving you can actually do the research. You need hard evidence, and the absolute gold standard? Publications. A first author paper at a respected conference sends the clearest possible signal that you can already perform at a high level. Make sure that stuff is front and center on your CV.
Now let's talk academics, because there's some real nuance here. A high GPA is great, but a high GPA that includes tough, graduate-level courses where you earned an A, that is a huge plus. It tells them you're already operating at the next level. But the flip side is also true. Taking a grad course and getting a B can actually be a bit of a red flag. So the takeaway is definitely challenge yourself, but make sure you absolutely crush it.
And hey, for all of our international applicants, this part is absolutely critical. On top of everything else, you have this extra layer of administrative hurdles. Your documentation has to be perfect. We're talking official English proficiency scores sent right from the agency, solid proof of financial resources for your visa, and copies of passports. Seriously, don't let a simple paperwork mistake sink an otherwise amazing application.
All right, let's bring this all home. We've taken a good look inside that black box. We've gotten a feel for how the committee thinks. Now, let's boil all that down into a master plan for your application. So, if you remember nothing else, remember these 4 things. 1. Your application isn't a collection of documents. It's a single, cohesive story. Make sure everything works together. 2. Prove it. Back up every claim, especially a research potential, with concrete evidence. 3. Show them you're a perfect fit for their program. Do your homework and connect the dots for them. And 4, be your recommender's best friend. Make it as easy as possible for them to be your biggest advocates.
Look, at the end of the day, every single piece of your application, your statement, your CV, your letters, is a chance to communicate your story and your potential. You have the playbook now. You know how they think. So the only real question left, the one that only you can answer, is how are you going to tell your story?